everybody, welcome back to George Does Stuff. This is George. I do stuff, mostly knife reviews. I proudly like to tell people that I'm the writer of the worst knife review channel on the internet, and lately your comments have been agreeing with me wildly. So let's keep that momentum going. So today is a little bit different video, as you may have noticed. There's no overhead shot. There will be no knives in my hand for this video, but there will be. I'll be editing and putting stuff in. It should be nice and fun. This episode, I'm going to talk about the top 10 things in the knife world that I don't like. I was going to say top 10 things that I hate, but hate's a strong word, so we're not going to use hate. We need to fill the world with love. We're all friends here. This is all for fun. Everybody calm down. It's a good time. Relax. We're going to have some fun here. So I guarantee you by the end of this list, there's going to be people that unsubscribe from me. There's going to be people that never come back and look at my channel again. I'm prepared for that. I'm not monetized, so I don't lose any money if you guys leave. Not that I want you guys to leave, but I'm just saying, it's okay. I get it. So without further ado, we'll get into the top things I don't like about the knife world. Number 10, Damascus steel. It's not that I think Damascus steel is bad. It's just that the Damascus steel that most people have isn't really Damascus steel. And the Damascus steel that people do have is generally terrible steel. It's usually, the thing about Damascus is that it's only as good as the worst material you use, and generally this steel is garbage. It's 440C, or I don't even know, just some kind of high carbon crap or low carbon crap. I don't know. It's terrible. I mean, the most often VG10 is the best steel in the mix, and VG10 by itself is actually a very good steel. It's just when you mix it with something other crappy steel, then all of a sudden you just have crappy steel. I do have one Damascus knife that I have reviewed. It is made by CV Life, and I actually really like that knife, but it still has not changed my mind on Damascus. Most Damascus steel is terrible, so yeah, I don't like Damascus steel. I think it looks good, but so what? If it's a good looking knife that's just a piece of junk, then who cares? I don't know. Anyway, don't like Damascus steel. Number 2. Just to dive deeper into controversy, S35VN steel. It's the dumbest steel out there. It used to be made by Crucible. I don't know who's going to carry the torch with that. I'm sure it's going to continue on. But there's no reason for S35 steel. S45 steel is a pretty good steel. I don't even think it has the edge retention of S30V. It's more corrosion resistant, but you're still not going to take it to salt water. It's not a saltwater safe knife. It's got pretty decent. By the way, you might hear my clothes in the laundry. I'm traveling, folks. I'm sorry. I gotta do my laundry, but hopefully it doesn't override what I'm saying. But anyhow, So S45 better steel. S35 terrible edge retention compared to S30 and S45. Great corrosion resistance, but who cares? Use M390, use S45, use D2. S35VN is a poorly thought out metal. There's no place for it. You just don't need it. There's so many different alternatives now that we are so spoiled in the knife world that it is a steel that never needed to be. And it is, and I don't know why. Just stop using it. All right, so I guess we're going in reverse order. So this would be number 8. I got them numbered backwards. So Damascus was 1 on my list, and it should be 10. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. There's no particular order to these except for the last one, which is the way we all do this on the internet. Herman knives. I've heard a lot of knife reviewers talk about Herman knives. I've never held a Herman knife. I'm sure they're wonderful knives. I have nothing against the Herman company at all. But every Herman knife that I have seen, I see the artisan level, work done, the amazing finishes they have, these incredibly smooth, actions and stuff like that. But the knife shapes themselves, from the knives that I've seen, it's just not a knife I'm going to spend what those knives cost. I don't think they're good looking knives. I'm talking to like 10 people out there, because I don't think anybody out there anybody who watches my channel is going to buy a bunch of Herman knives anyway. And if you do, I'm open to change. My eyes are wide open, but I can tell you from where I sit right now, for having not handled a Herman knife, I just don't like the way they look. And, I'll be honest, 90% of knife ownership is liking the way the knife looks. Because let's face it, almost any wedge of metal can be made into a knife and what it looks, and be highly functional. So a lot of it really just boils down to aesthetics. And I just don't find their knives, the ones that I've seen so far to date, pleasant. I don't like it. That's it. I'm done with Herman knives. Next, another steel that I can't stand, and I have no way of defending my attitude about this, but Elmax steel. I have never liked Elmax steel. I don't even know the properties of Elmax steel. I don't like the name Elmax. And I think what happened was, this is a really stupid story, but this is a really stupid channel, so it kind of works out. Microtech, when I got really into knife collecting years and years ago, they were using 20 CV steel. Now I'm aware that I think it's 204, CP, M390, and 20 CV are all the same steels. They're all a little bit different, I think, chemically, but basically they're all exactly the same steels. They're all very good steels, by the way. Don't let anybody dissuade you from that. No matter what you hear on the internet, those are all three very, very good steels. So Microtech went through a phase where they just kind of like shuffled through steels. They weren't quite sure, I guess, what they were going to use, or maybe there was a shortage or something. I don't know. And so they put out a run of like zombie killers. I'll try to put some pictures in here somewhere. These weird zombie killer, neon green and weird colored, stuff. And they used almost exclusively Elmax steel. And I am a person that I love 20 CV. I love M390. I love 20 CV. I think they're great steels. I had two Microtech SOCOM Elites in 20 CV. They were the sharpest knives I ever got from the factory. They were just mind-numbingly sharp. They were just amazing, very, very well-made knives. I sold them, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago. And I almost wish I had, because I love those knives. They're fantastic. But I guess I was just angry that they didn't use the ML anymore, so they switched to Elmax, and I just I don't want Elmax. I don't like the way it looks, the weird neon stuff. I don't like the sound of it. It just stuck. It's just the way it is, Some people are Ford people, some people are Chevy people, some people are Elmax people, I guess. And I'm not one of them. I just don't like Elmax steel. Can't defend any better than that. Feel free to rip me up in the comments, as you always do. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Elmax steel at all. Okay, right here is where I'm going to lose everybody. And for those of you who've been with me on my knife journey so far, it's been great. I'm going to miss you all. But Hinderer knives. I am well aware that Hinderer makes spectacular knives. He and his company make excellent knives. They're very well built. They're very well thought out. They're very well constructed. They use excellent materials. They use excellent manufacturing techniques. They're made in the United States. The steels they use are steels that I love, but I just don't like the way the knives look. They just don't look right to me, and that's the worst possible reason not to like a knife. But like I said before, in the knife world, liking the way a knife is shaped is 90% of it. It really is, because almost any wedge of steel can be made into a knife. It is the shape that draws us to it or repels us from it. And there are so many knives out now that have been around for years and years that I really think they're fantastic. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but like I love Strider knives. And I'm not sure, but I believe Strider started making knives before Rick Hinderer did. I don't know that for a fact, but they kind of use the same formula. You know, at least they did in the beginning, where they have a G10 on one side and titanium on the other side, or a full tie. You know, they both make really tough knives. You know, I will say it to the end of days. When a Strider locks up, it's like having a bank vault shut behind you. I mean, you're safe. those knives, there's a sound they make that no other knife makes that sound, and they're awesome. But anyhow, I digress. Hinderer makes very good knives. They make excellent knives. I just do not like the way they look. And unfortunately, here's a person who's found a formula. I get it. I understand why people like his knives. I totally understand it. But for me personally, and this is my channel, I don't like Hinderer knives. I just don't like the way they look. I know they're great knives. I don't like the way they look. It's just the way I am. Burn me in the comments. I can hear fingers. Of all the 8 people who was going to watch this video, it's like, nah, I hate this guy. I get it. Hate me. I deserve it. Anyway, I think you guys might jump back on board after this one. So the other thing that I don't like, next on my list, is American-made knife prices. China is kicking butt these days. They're all over it. They're making fantastic knives at fantastic prices. It used to be, you know, Chinese-made knives were only found in gas stations and shopping malls. The guy, sells throwing stars and nunchucks. But I mean, Civivi, Sativian, Miguron, Reich, Riot. I mean, the list goes on and on. There are so many good Vosteed, so many excellent Chinese knife makers now that, I mean, they're absolutely in the mix and where they should be, but their pricing is much better than it is here in the United States. And I understand that everything's a little bit more expensive here in the United States. I totally get it. But I think some of the prices are exaggerated. For example, you know, my everyday carry, it's been in almost every video I've ever made. I have a S30V paramilitary tube. When I bought that knife 15, 16 years ago, I got it on Amazon, brand new, for $89. And nothing has happened, well, with the possible exception of the closing of Crucible, but nothing has happened as far as manufacturing process, metallurgy manufacturing, the skill of laborers. Nothing has changed in 15 years to make that knife more expensive. If anything, the manufacturing process should be down to a second nature. It should be super easy to crank those things out, especially if you're using a common steel. Now, I get if you're using Rex 121 or if you're using, 15V or Maximet, these steels that just eat up tooling equipment. I get it. That's one thing. I mean, if you're using, S30V, that should not be, that knife does not need to be hovering around $200. You want to bump it up to 120? Okay, I'll go there. 130? All right. It's a great knife. I'd pay $130 every day for a paramilitary too. I'd go as high as 150 for just a standard, good old-fashioned, S30V, paramilitary tube. Absolutely. But like $180, in some cases $190, and blackout, and I don't know, man. They're way too expensive. I mean, I bought that knife for $90. It has lasted me. I'm going to probably carry it for another 15 years, and I love it. It's a great knife. It's very well made. It uses, phosphor-bronze washers. All the materials are very simple, easy to manufacture as far as I know, especially if you've been making that knife for now 20 years. It seems like you guys should be able to get the prices down. And I don't mean to pick on Spyderco. I mean, it's true of everybody. Every U.S. made, Benchmade makes Spydercos look like, swap meet knives. I mean, Benchmade had lost their mind a long time ago. Benchmade makes a good knife. They make spectacular looking knives. I have heard, I haven't experienced this myself, I've heard that they run their metals a little softer than they should be. I can't speak to that. I have 2 Benchmade knives. I think they're great knives. They sit in a drawer. I carried the 940 for a while, but just the blade shape doesn't quite lend itself, for me personally, to being quite as useful as a paramilitary 2. Para 2 blade is very, very utilitarian. You can do 1,000 different things with it, and that's why I carry mine. So anyway, so yeah, I think the prices of American-made knives, even Hogue and Kershaw, are their prices are getting bumped up, and again, great knife companies. I love them both, but their prices, things are getting too high. And with the competition they have from China, I mean, you don't have to tell Kershaw. Kershaw has a significant portion of their line that's made in China, so they know exactly how that works. And so, I don't know. I think we've gotten a little too big for our britches, and these prices need to be kind of knocked down. I mean, there's no reason why these knives should be priced the way they are. Now, I'm not talking about like semi-custom or mid-tech, like Heretic Knives or Microtech or Strider, Hinderer, McNeese, all these, Chris Reeve. I mean, all these spectacular, American-made companies. And to be honest, I don't know that Chris Reeve has changed the price of his knives in 15 years. I think all his knives have pretty much stayed the same. I mean, Sabins is $500. I think over the last 15 years, that price has gone from like maybe $450 or $475 to $500. I mean, if Chris Reeve doesn't have to, triple the price of his knife, why does anybody else have to do it? I don't get it. So anyhow, I'm not super stoked on the price of American-made knives. I love American-made knives. I just wish they were a little less expensive, but that could be said for damn near anything. The next one, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this. Greg Medford's attitude. Now, I have actually met Greg Medford, and I met him at Blade Show last year in Fort Worth, and he did a very nice thing for me. My brother is now retired, but was in law enforcement, and he had to work, so he couldn't go to Blade Show. So I asked Greg to record a message for him that was littered with profanity and a variety of other epithets that we won't get into, and I'll probably try to run some B-roll of him talking over my shoulder. I won't have the audio, but anyhow, it was very nice of him to do that. He did not have to do it. It was a pretty long video. My brother loved it. It was great. It was very funny and very kind. But like, I saw I can't remember the guy's name. I'll put his name up here. He's a Russian-born. I think he's a Russian-born Ukrainian. I think it's DBRX or something like that. Anyhow, I'll put his channel up there. And he bought 2 Medford knives that were dull. He bought them from a knife shop, and he brought them home, and they were dull. And then he sent them into Medford, and Medford had like 2 videos that he put where he like chastises his staff and had them reground, sharpened, and sent back, which is what you're supposed to do, especially if you're selling $1,200 knives. And then he called the guy a couple names for leaving the video up after it was fixed. It's like, hey man, no, it's his channel, and you did something wrong, and he called you out on it, and the video stays. I mean, it's a fact. So if somebody experiences the same thing, they can go back and look and say, oh, well, this, now there's a pattern that we're seeing here. So they never delete. I mean, come on, man. The dude gave you almost $2,000, or I don't know what you made a profit on it, but guy bought $2,000 worth of knives, and he got home and they were dull. I mean, there's no excuse for that at all. Period. Greg Medford makes great knives, and the other thing he does is he really does a lot of innovation. His knives have very unique shapes to them. He's continually changing his knives. He uses a different variety of steels. I mean, he's doing a lot of things right. but he's doing a lot of things wrong at the same time. And I guess that kind of goes with the territory. If you're breaking new ground, you know, you're gonna have to, you know, step in some mud, I guess. But if you can just dial it back to 7, because he's just on 10 all the time, and it's kind of rough, and he makes great knives. I'm not, and like I said, he did me a square personally, and I thank him for that. But yeah, man, just relax, dude. It's gonna be all right. You know, we're not doing rocket surgery here. Anyhow, the next thing on my list, because I forgot where I was as far as numbers, I'll flash it up here somewhere. And this is something that nobody can really help with, and that's the loss of Crucible Steel. Crucible Steel made all the steels that I love. They made S90V, which is my favorite steel, S30V, 15V, S110V, and MagnaCut. Imagine there's a lot of other steels I'm leaving out. You can remind me in the comments, but they made just a laundry list of the best knife steels out there, and I wish that somebody, you know, could have swooped in, some knife-loving billionaire or whatever, and said, we're going to keep this company open for another 20 years. You know, we got it covered. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I have seen some interviews with Larry and Thomas, who was a creator of MagnaCut steel, and now MagnaMax steel, which I'd love to get some of that too. And he said that a lot of those chemical compositions will continue, but he doesn't know about, as far as, you know, like for me, like S90V, he doesn't know if that's going to continue or not, and if it does, it will probably have a different name. Yeah, it just breaks my heart, and I unfortunately can't balance my checkbook, much less run a multi-million-dollar company, and so I get it. And it's just a bummer. I just don't like when, you know, you find something you really like and it just goes the way of the dodo for one reason or another, and it's just terrible. I mean, the good news is, looks like MagnaCut's going to make it through. So MagnaCut is here to stay. MagnaMax is here to stay. And since we're just spoiled babies, M390 and 20CV, which are damn good steels, those aren't going anywhere either. So we're lucky enough to live in an age where D2, which was once considered a super steel, and I'm not talking about 100 years ago. I mean, D2 steel was a super steel 15 years ago. I mean, the first Medford knives were all in D2, and I think he still makes knives in D2. D2 is a damn good steel, and that's why I love it, and I'm going to keep on saying that and until they quit making it, which hopefully that won't happen in my lifetime. But D2 steel is a good steel. But yes, the thought of losing S30V, S90V, 15V, 10V, I don't have any knives in 10V, but 10V kind of seems to be like, in my research, seems to be like right where you want it to be. I know that Spyderco has some 10V steel knives out there. I need to go find one at some point. But yeah, so yes, the loss of Crucible Steel, I'm still reeling from it, even though all those metals are currently still widely available. They haven't disappeared yet, but I'll have to wait and see. On number 2 on the list, because I know number 1 is coming up, is slip joints. Now, I'm old. I'm an old man. I'm not going to lie about that. And I have been around a long time, and there was a time where locking blades were something new and fascinating. I mean, case knives, the original Swiss Army knives, Barlow knives, all these different type of knives, all were slip joints. None of these knives were locking knives. And so locking that's kind of a newish thing. And it was kind of funny when people talk about one, you know, lock being superior, but whatever. The truth of the matter is, we're fortunate to have locks. I love liner locks. I love frame locks. I absolutely love compression locks. I like crossbar locks. They're not my favorite. They're good locks, though. I love Spyderco's ball bearing lock, which is basically kind of a different twist on the crossbar lock. So there's and I feel safer, and I'm not a hard user. I'm not but taunting stuff or anything like that. But it's nice to know that the knife is locked and then it disengages in a way typically that makes it much easier for the knife to close. Closing a slip joint knife is scary, especially like those Jack Wolf knives that have that super tight detent, and it's like, if your fingers in there, man, you're jacked. You don't want to deal with that. All of a sudden, like, I've been doing this for 4 years. You don't want to be that guy. So I don't like slip joints. I don't understand why they're gaining in popularity. I just always thought that they were, I don't know. I was happy to have locking knives, and lock back knives were the first knives that I ever saw. So I'm not a fan of slip joints. So I'm gonna throw 2 honorable mentions in here of things that I don't like. I probably should have saved these for a second list, but I'll go ahead and do them now. Number 1 in the first thing in the honorable mention list is button locks. Don't like them. Don't trust them. I understand that they're pretty good. I believe ProTech makes a very good button lock. I think there's an argument to be made that the Microtech automatics, I guess, technically have a button lock. I don't know. Nobody's really explained to me how the locks work on Microtech automatics, but it's a button and you press it to unlock it. So I'm going to call it a button lock. I understand now the button actuated frame locks, the button actuated liner locks, the button actuated compression locks. Those are all, they're growing on me. But I just, I personally like, a good example is the lock on a Kaiser Militaw. The feel when you get in that liner lock is just, it's really, really awesome how it's so smooth, and it's a really cool thing to actuate, and it really helps the fidget factor. So I like all the locks I mentioned, but button locks, I think I have 3 Artisan Cutlery Pyrites that are fantastic S90V knives. One of them cost me like $300, whatever. And I realized once I got it, it's like, it has a button lock. It's like, I have an S90V knife with titanium scales, and it has the crappiest lock known to man. I don't know. But it's still a good knife, and I like it. But I would be much happier and trust the knife more if it was a liner lock or a frame lock. But that's just me. So that's honorable mention. The first honorable mention. The second honorable mention is black blades. Let's not get this twisted. DLC coating is awesome. I get it. I have 2 Militaws. Both of them have DLC coating on them. That stuff is awesome. You can take a nail and scrape it on the side of the blade and just wipe it off, because that stuff's so hard. It really, really stops damage happening aesthetically to the knife. But like the PVD coating, particularly like Spyderco just released a bunch of Salt Series knives that are made out of MagnaCut, but they have PVD coat. Why? I mean, the whole idea of MagnaCut is that it's almost entirely corrosion resistant. You don't need to PVD coat a corrosion resistant knife. D2, it makes sense. 1095 steel, a steel that will, start to rust if you look at it, long enough. I get it. Those non-stainless steel knives. I mean, even like a 15V or something like that, I could see where you want to, powder coat that and put some kind of covering on it to keep it from rusting. But M390, MagnaCut, S90V, S30V, S45V, S35VN. These are all extremely corrosion-resistant steels. Why do you want that with the black? It's just Mall Ninja to me. It's tactical. It's not. Come on, man. You guys are not on SEAL Team 6. You're not even SEAL Team 3. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But yeah, anyhow, I don't really care for PVD, the PVD coating on knives and just black paint on knives. It looks Mall Ninja to me. For those of you who don't know the term, I think it was coined like in the 90s or early 2000s, and it's in malls. There used to be things called shopping malls, and they used to sell ninja supplies, and all the knives had black blades on them because they're ninja, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, don't like it. And speaking of coated black blades, we get to the number one thing in the knife world that I don't like. And some of you probably have an idea what I'm about to say. Ozark Trail knives. The D2 Ozark Trail knives are terrible. They're horrible knives. They are not good. I currently have 5 of them. They will not hold an edge. There is 0 heat treatment to them. They're god awful. And I keep getting comments from my viewers, and I love you, and I appreciate your comments, and I understand, and I will say, I'll be the first person to say that if you're out there and you're batch treating, thousands of blades, you got a batch of thousands and thousands of blades, you're going to mess around and get some right. You're going to accidentally anneal them correctly, heat treat them correctly. You're going to have a really good batch where they powdered the D2 just right to where it's gonna have a really good grain formation to it. But I will guarantee you, if you have a very well heat treated Ozark Trail D2 knife, you need to buy a lotto ticket, because I'm not the only one. There is a laundry list of guys who are much more knowledgeable about knives than I am, that are much better at sharpening. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not great at sharpening knives. There's a laundry list of people out there that are much better sharpeners than myself, that cannot sharpen that knife. There's a guy, I'll put a link or put his picture up there or whatever, who got a D2 knife, and this guy's very, very good at sharpening knives. And he had to whittle it back like a 1/4 inch of steel to get to viable steel, because the edge was so burned that he could not get an edge. It was like butter. And I had this same experience with mine. So to all you people that tell me about how you got your $10 knife from Walmart, you immediately attacked a cinder block with it, where you were able to cut through 4 and 5 cinder blocks. You were then able to strop it back to where it was hair whittling sharp. I only have one ask. Make a video of it. Make a video of it. Put it down in the comments. Tell me about your channel, and I will go watch your video, and I will sing the praises of the Ozark Trail D2 knives from the mountaintops. But until I see a video of somebody actually doing that, and I don't want you guys to put links to some other guy who did it a year and a half ago, because I've seen that video, and maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he got one of the lotto knives that we just actually got one that was well heat treated, or maybe that very first batch they put out were actually really, really good because they took their time, they didn't know what they had, and they really put some effort into that first batch. What I call the first batch, that's the worst one I have, but sadly they haven't been getting any better. I tried the coated blade, I tried the non-coated blade, I had the non-reversible clip, I had the reversible clip. I even got the flipper, which is not even really in the same group of knives, and that one's garbage. They're just not good knives. They're just not good knives. And I understand that people want these knives to be fantastic, magical knives. And I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of good knives out there you can buy, believe it or not, for under $10 on Amazon. I will flash some pictures up here of knives that are between $20 and $7 that I feel are all better than the Ozark Trail D2 knife. I'm not going to tell you about how, I cut through ironwood with it, and then, I went and then, shaved my face with it afterwards, without even having to strop it, because it's not true. But they're much better heat-treated knives. They have much better edges. They keep much better edges. They sharpen much better. They sharpen. None of the Ozark Trails that I have been able to put a decent edge on. None of them. And I mean, I'm not a great sharpener, but I can put an edge on a knife. I mean, it's not something that's impossible. I mean, anyhow. So I digress. I hate those knives. I'm grateful for them because the vast majority of my subscribers are here because of my reviews of those knives. By far and away, those are the most popular knife reviews that I have. Whenever I put an Ozark Trail in a title, I get hundreds, if not thousands, of views on those videos. But I will hold my ground. They're not good knives. They're good looking knives. Some of them even have good action, but they're just garbage. They really are not. And trust me, Walmart doesn't care if I say this. Walmart's going to be just fine. And to their credit, they have seen the hype, and they have put out new Ozark Trail knives that are half the price. They have $5 knives now that are made out of different steels. They had the 14. I can't remember the number off the hand, but I'll put it up there. And I think like the one I just got, it's probably 440 steel, whatever. It just has stainless steel. But I'm going to try that one out, and I have a feeling it's probably going to do pretty well. So we'll have to see. But they're not stopping. They didn't just find something they like and then stop. They're trying all sorts of stuff. And hats off to Walmart, man. Way to go, Ozark Trail. You guys are trying to do something. And at least they're trying. I will never say they're not trying. So, folks, that's it. I apologize for this format. I just want to do a little chat session. I've been traveling a tremendous amount. I've been in 5 different cities in the last 5 weeks, and I have 2 new cities I'm going to over the next 2 weeks. So I really don't have time at the moment to give it the really nice overhead shot, well lit, well thought out. Usual Georgia stuff videos. I'm sorry you guys had to see this thing, but it's where my voice comes out of, so some of you had to see something. And hopefully some people like this format, and if you do, I might put out a couple more videos like this. It was fun. It was fun to make. I might do 10 things that I love about the knife world. Do some positive videos. I bet I'll get less views though. Anyway, I appreciate all you guys. I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. I never ask anybody to subscribe to my channel. I don't know why you would, but I appreciate those of you who do. I appreciate everybody who views my channel. I don't ask people to like. I don't ask people to subscribe, but I hope you do enjoy the time we had here and my video, and I will talk to y'all soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.